أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge in Allah against shaitan the rejected, and I begin with the name of Allah, the eternal source of mercy and grace. Dear brothers and sisters, dear participants, may the peace and blessings of Almighty Allah be upon one and all of you, and Jazakallah for joining us for our class tonight. Tonight, the class will be administered by Brother Nazir, and following on from last night, we will go into some of the tools available for the study of the Quran. A reminder, please take these tools seriously. They are very good tools to assist you to unlock the message of the Quran. The idea, as we repeatedly mentioned, is to create familiarity with the text of the Quran, that it may have an influence on our lives, and we then establish a direct relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Quran. So without any further ado, let me hand over to Brother Nazir, who will take you through some of the apps, etc. Jazakallah. Maaf, I think Brother Nazir might be having some technical difficulties here, so let's wait for him.
Sorry, I was not unmuted. Apologies.
All right, so you're having a long conversation and no one could
with
hear
myself.
Okay.
Now let me start it.
Right, I'm off. Jazakallah.
Okay, right, Jazakallah. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to Unlocking the Quran, Code 103. In the second lesson, it's a follow on from yesterday. And yesterday, Brother Riyaz had laid out very beautifully the different types of translations and commentaries in English of the Quran, very useful resources. And we will take that a step further today, looking at different software, both for your phones, for computers, as well as one or two websites that might be handy for you to use in your study of the Quran. Bear in mind, we're moving to a phase where we really want you all to be empowered and be able to initiate your own self-study, which is probably the most potent way of studying the Quran. So what I'd like to do before I actually start, and I'd like the participants tonight to go to your chat box, and if you can just indicate whether you've successfully installed an application on your phone. So just write success or problem, right? And then I have an idea of how successful or not people have been in installing at least one application on your phone. So either you can write yes, or I think there's an option where I think you can click yes. So if you're successful, just say yes or successful. Or if you're having a problem, just state problem, and I have a better idea of who will need to assist or not. So I'll just give you a minute or two for that. Okay, so I see a lot of people are having success. One or two have had a challenge. Okay, for those of you that are having any challenges with your installation, If you can just indicate to me, you can send a private message. So how you send a private message, where you see 2, you can click the drop down arrow, and then you can choose my name there. And you can just say, just let me know whether you've been trying to install it on a cell phone, and what type of cell phone this is, whether it's an Apple or Android, and then I'll be able to better help you. Okay, I'm getting some feedback, so that's quite useful. So I'll go through, we'll deal with the technical issues as we go along, but as a start, what I'm going to do, I'm going to work a bit in reverse tonight. So I'm actually going to show you on the shared screen a PC-based application, right? And what you'll notice is as we go through this PC-based application, you'll find that, in the old days, we used to use our computers to do a lot of the stuff. And you'll find a lot of the new applications on your cell phones can do a lot of what this application on the computer can do, but actually even a lot more. So you actually have a powerful gadget in your hands, especially in terms of studying the Quran. So I'll deal, I think there's 2 people that have had a bit of a challenge. And let me just message 1 second. One second. Okay, so what I'm going to do, you have seen the document I sent, so maybe I should start off with that one there first. Let me just share the screen for that one. Marf, 1 second. Yeah, share screen. Okay, so you should all be able to see what I've sent out earlier on your screen right now. And essentially, I've broken it down into iPhone applications, Android applications, and then software specifically that can be installed onto a computer. And then 1 or 2 websites that are quite handy for Quranic studies. There's a lot more, which we can deal with later. But just also to give you a brief outline as well. So I use Android, and my favorite app is Hasanat, and I'll explain to you a little bit later on why. It has the functionality for a lot of things. And if I go to the iPhone, a combination of these is what would be required to what you can get out of a Hasanat, and all depends on what type of study you're looking at. If you're aiming to do a very simple, what they call it, a very simple review or search in English, then all these applications work perfectly fine. If you want to do a bit more complex Arabic searches, then you're limited in which application you can use. And then if you want to do a bit more intricate understanding and analysis on specific verbs in the Quran, etc., then you need tools like the Quran corpus, etc. Right? And we'll go through that just now. But as I indicated, I'm going to start from the reverse order. So I'm actually going to share my screen and show you Zikr briefly, so that you can just get a sense of how I use the applications, and then we'll actually move on to the actual cell phone applications and practically apply them and try and get them to work on your phones and test them out. So what I'm going to do is, let me just stop sharing 1 second. Okay, right, 1 second. Let me just share my Zikr screen. 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just gonna get to this one web page. Right, oh, perfect. So let me share now. Share. Right. So in that Word document I sent you, you'll see that the hyperlink I've sent you is zikr.org. Unfortunately, it's quite dated, but I find it to be a very handy software. For those that are using a Windows-based computer, you can use any of these here. I've actually experienced problems more recently with my upgrades on my computer, and it's preferable not to use the x64, so you use the recommended version, and that should install fairly well. If you're using Mac, I think there has been some challenges with Macs using the software, but I think most people use Windows computers by and large, at least on computers, and I'm going to show you what it can do, and then we'll go into the applications on cell phones after that. So let's go to my Zikr application. So this is the Zikr application, and I hope you can all see my screen. So this is the interface for the Zikr application, and it has some very useful features. So you'll see, if you want, you can get a variety of Arabic recitations, you can download them, etc. But more to the point around studying verses, it's a very simple interface. So you can either choose to go to a specific surah. So our very famous ayah, and please use your chat box. So which is the ayah that gives us our 5 articles of faith and almost summarizes our faith in one verse in Surah Baqarah? Any ideas? Surah 2 verse, and I hope you're going to make note of this. This is when I joined Halkas, this was the verse, all right? And I actually remember writing it down and pasting it on my fridge at home because I found it so profound and so simple and clear. So if I wanted to just navigate to Surah 2 verse 177, so that's the famous verse, and you'll see it comes up here. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب, and the English is at the bottom here. It is not righteousness that you turn your faces towards east or west. And Allah defines what bir is: to believe in Allah, article 1, last day, believe in the last day, article 2, the malaika, article 3, the kitab, article 4, and the 5th article is the messengers. If you look at the Arabic there, من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين. So that's the 5 articles of faith, right? And then it says what is righteousness is to first obviously believe in the 5 articles, to spend your substance out of love for him, for your family, for orphans, for the needy, for the wayfarer, for those who ask, and for the ransom of slaves, to be steadfast in prayer and practice regular charity, to fulfill contracts which you have made, and to be firm and patient in pain and suffering and adversity, and throughout all periods of panic. Such are the people of truth, and you look at the Arabic there, the muttaqun. So very important ayah. So this is just a simple use of the tool to find a verse. But the power of this application is more around the search function. So you'll see on this side of your screen, there's a search function, and you'll see you can type in whatever you want here, and you can do a search in the translation, or you can do a search in Arabic, right? So let's just say, can someone put in the chat box what question do you want to, what word you want to search for in the Quran? Give me a word. What you want to look for? Let's just think of fighting, maybe. What do you think of fighting? Or charity. Let's look at the word charity, maybe. So if I want to search for the word charity, I just type in charity there, and it's selected as translation. I click on search, and there's 62 results for the word charity found in 59 ayahs. And the verse said, who are active in deeds of charity, and Surah Mu'minun. And if I click on the plus here, I get the Arabic related to it. It opens it up for me. So establish prayer and give regular zakah, obey the messenger. And then if I choose any of these here, if I just click on, let's just say like I wanted to look at the context of this ayah. So I just click on that, it's a hyperlink, and it takes me straight to Surah 23 verse 4. And here's the verse, and it's in context of, if I scroll a little bit higher up, it's the beginning of Surah Mu'minun. The believers must eventually win through. Those who humble themselves in their prayers and who avoid vain talk and who are active in deeds of charity. So that's one use of technology to be able to find verses as such. The other utility of Arabic searches is what's useful about this application is that it does something called like a Boolean search. So often, sometimes you sort of recall a verse, but you can't remember the exact wording of it. So if I recall, the one that sometimes gives me a challenge is, let's say I remember that I'm looking for a verse that talks about, let's just say, I just think of the bounty. That's not bounty. Let's look at. There was one verse about fasad fil ard, or mischief in the land has appeared, right? So I remember the word is mischief in the verse. Mischief appeared. I can't remember the exact word, but I know there's a verse about mischief appearing in the land, right? So if I just type mischief and I type appeared, and I click search, there it brings it up for me. So the verse is actually what I was thinking of was mischief has appeared on land and sea because of the meed or that the hands of men have earned, that Allah may give them a taste of some of their deeds in order that they may turn back from evil. Surah Rum, and if I go over Surah Rum, you can see 30:41, so it's Surah 30, verse 41 comes up. So it's a very powerful way of searching the Quran and allows us to find verses that we can't remember the exact wording. So you'll see when you come to the applications on the phones, some have the power of doing that and some require you to give an exact wording and won't allow you to just pick up two words as such. So if I was looking at Satan and, for example, whisper, so he whispers in our heart, right? So there it is. So, but Shaitan whispered evil to him. And that's when then began Shaitan to whisper. So irrespective of where the words occur in a verse, it brings it up. So it's a very powerful way of looking up a specific term as such, right? So let me know in the chat box if you're having any challenges or you're not following or not understanding. But this is just to illustrate to you the capability and power of the technology, right? So now we've done English searches. The other value of this is to do Arabic searches. So if you're doing Arabic, you click on Quran. And the only challenge with Zikr, unless you've got an Arabic keyboard, it's fairly difficult to type a specific Arabic word. So usually what I'd usually do is, let's say, for example, I'm looking for this term, ash-shaytanu, in Arabic. So I'll highlight that term. I could just copy it. I right click on it and I copy. And I'll paste it in this place where it says search. So it's pasted the ash-shaytanu. I've chosen the Quran and I click on search. And it brings up all these 34 ayahs where shaitan is mentioned. Let me just get to the chat box. Okay, so just also to note, the reason why I'm using Zikr is just easier for me to show you search functionality of Zikr. I'm still going to get to the phones, so don't get too excited yet. All that Zikr can do, the phone in your hand can do the same thing, and we're going to do the same exercise. But I'm just trying to show you how the searches are done, and then we'll use applications on the phone to do it after that, right? So Arabic searches allow you to look for different verses that you keen on looking at, but I'm going to show a bit more detail on the apps a bit later on. So anyway, there's the 34 ayahs, and if you click on plus here, the translation, it gives you the Arabic there with the English translation for each ayah. It's a very powerful way of searching the Quran as well. And then there's one specific unique feature of Zikr that's not available in many other applications. And once you start doing more Arabic study, this last button here that says root is a very handy tool. So if you have some basic understanding of Arabic, and say, for example, you wanted to, and you know, Arabic has 3 root letters, so that's the basis for it. And for example, if I wanted to search for the word sabr, or even som, here's the word som, right? Seen, wow, meme, right? Now, what you'll notice is that when you're doing normal Arabic searches in other applications, it looks for the word seen, wow, meme exactly in that specific order. Now, I'm going to double click on som. The difference that this application will do is that it looks for all the root forms of som, for example. So, musawwamatan is from the root word som, sin, wow, meme. But you'll find, for example, bc, ma, hum. So you just, so what you'll notice here is sima, right? There's no wow here. Sin, ya, meme. And in Arabic, for example, sawama, the wow can change to a ya. So this it's a little bit more sophisticated because it does an Arabic root search. It's a lot more for advanced research if you want to do specifically on Arabic searches as such. So this was just to give you a flavor of searching the Quran using English searches, using Arabic searches, just to get you orientated as to how to go about actually running one of, 1 second, sorry, trying to do a search as such. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing, and now we're going to move over to applications, right? Sorry about that. One minute, I just need to swap to my phone, and then I'm going to share screen on the phone now, right? 1 second. Mafe, 1 minute.
Right.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Firstly, can you confirm? Okay, it should be better now without an echo, right? Okay, so you guys can hear me.
Sorry, yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so to make sure. Okay, so what we're going to go on to now, you would have seen in the document I've sent you guys, there was iPhone applications and Android applications. So I'm going to start off with the iPhone applications and start off with eQuran Lite. So the challenge is with the 2 different platforms, you don't get the same applications in either iPhone or Android. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the iPhone applications first, and then go to Android, which is the one I'm more familiar with, right? So and we'll deal with the challenge of not being able to access some of these applications, right? So you should be able to see my cell phone screen now. And what I'm going to do is get to eQuran Lite. So I've installed it already on my phone. So for iPhones, you'll have eQuran Lite. The only difference is I'm running it on my Android phone, so you can get the same application on Android. I think the Apple version is a slightly better version, but I've only got an Android phone, so I'm using the Lite version on my phone to illustrate to you this specific application. So what you'll notice is it brings up all the chapters of the Quran, and what's quite useful about this software, at the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see something called settings. So if I click on settings, you'll see, and you click on translator, you have an option of Yusuf Ali, which is the most popular one. But you'd have noticed Riaz referred to two, Muhammad Asad and Shabir Ahmed. And this is the only application that actually has Shabir Ahmed as a translator, right? And it's a very handy one to use when you're looking for Shabir Ahmed's translation. It's a very modern translation of the Quran. So I'm going to put Shabir Ahmed on for this one here. And I'm going back to browse. And I'm going to go to that same Surah 2 verse 177, right? So if I go to Surah Baqarah, 1 second, 1 minute. Okay, before we even get to that, 1 second. 1 minute. Whoops, sorry, I went out of the application mouth. So he's got an index as well. And most of the applications have an index. So for example, if you're looking for heaven, you click on H, and you'd be able to find, let's look for, okay, he's got hell here. So if I click on Jahannam, then all the verses come up about Jahannam related to the topic as well. So it's a very useful index. And then if I go back and I want to do a search. So what's neat about Shabir Ahmed's search is that you can do the Boolean search I had suggested earlier. So for example, I had typed in mischief, oops, good, spelled it wrong, mischief, and what was it again? I can't remember the second word. Anyway, mischief and land, right? It was something like that. And I click on search. Okay, so actually the challenge is I've chosen Shabir Ahmed's translation. So let me just switch to Yusuf Ali. I should have done that. And then done the mischief in the land. Okay. So he also, what's neat about Shabir Ahmed is that it brings up a variety of possible links to similar topics, which is a unique feature. Now, what I actually want to illustrate to you with that one there was, for example, if I had to choose one verse in Shabir Ahmed, let's just look at Surah 3, verse 3, right? And what's neat about his one is that if you look at Surah 3, verse 3, it is He was sent down to you step by step in the truth, the book confirming what went before it. He sent down the Torah, Injil, etc. But you'll see there's an arrow underneath it, and it says 13 related verses. So he gives 13 cross references. You know, it's like what we spoke about. And if I click on that, it brings the 13 verses related to that verse in terms of a topic. So it's quite a handy option to use in terms of applicability. So that's the main value. It's got Muhammad Asad as a translator. It's got Shabir Ahmed. It has a very useful search function, so you can do a Boolean search as well. And then going back, it has a very useful index option, right? So I'm going to get out of this one here. So this is eQuran Lite, available on the Apple Store, right? So let's go out of this. Then the other thing that's useful is this thing called Al-Quran Tafsir and by word. So you'll see that application is also on the list that was given. So click on OK. So this one here is similar. It's got a bit more options. So if I look at, let's choose Surah Araf. What's very neat about this one here is that you have translation options and playing options, right? So, all right. So you've got a variety of, so it's got the Sahih translation, and then it's got a variety of other Arabic tafsirs and a whole variety of different English translations, including tafsir Jalalain and other things as well, right? But what's very unique about it is that it's got the Arabic with almost like a word for word, like kitabun is a book, unzila, revealed, ilayka, to you, etc. So a very handy application. And then, one second, where am I now? Let's just go back here. Yeah, so it's mainly an Arabic-based version, and you can choose what you want to observe. You want to see the tajweed word-by-word translation, etc. Right. Okay. So that's the other Arabic one, and then the last one relevant for iPhones is something called Corpus. So this one here, you'll see it came up as a Quran Corpus on the note I've sent out and on the links that you've got. It comes up as this Quran app, and this one is available both in the Android and iPhone version, right? And what you'll see here is, for example, here they've got Sahih International. I might have been reading one of these verses. So Surah 10, verse 37, it was not possible for this Quran to be produced by other than Allah. And then if I click on to you'll see on the second bottom, it says Al-Lugha. And what it does now, and this is the Quran corpus, which is very powerful. So Surah 10, verse 10, Da'wahum fiha subhanaka Allahumma wa tahiyyatuhum. And it actually gives you now, it breaks the word down and actually tells you this word da'wahum is a combination of a nominative masculine noun. Actually gives you the grammar for this. So da'wah is a masculine noun, and hum is the pronoun, the third person masculine plural possessive noun. So very handy. Oops, sorry about that. What happened now? Just knocked off it. Okay. You should be able to see that. So a very handy thing that gives you the actual Arabic. And sometimes, a mufti might come and give you some complex explanation. They say you don't know your Arabic, and then you turn to corpus and you can answer him. And I think Ossi's been enjoying that. And then you can search for a specific verse. And I'm not sure, I haven't actually done the Arabic search on this platform, to be quite honest, but you can actually search by voice, if I'm not mistaken, in Arabic. But I would defer to maybe Ossi or someone else that's used this application more than me. So, anyway, so this was what I want to show you in terms of the tools available. This can do Arabic search. I'm not quite sure exactly on the iPhones how it's done, right? And I think you've got to install an Arabic keyboard onto it. So those are the first three that I've put on the iPhone list for you. And one second, let me just clear them out. Right. So what we're going to look at now is for the Android platform, there's this application called Hasanat English. And you can see it with this moon. And it's a Turkish-based application. And to be honest, it's my favorite because it does everything I really would want for Quranic study. So it has a index, and you'll find most of these applications all have indexes. So if you choose Abu Lahab, it brings up the verses related to Abu Lahab in a similar manner. And then what I'd like to actually get to specifically now is to do very much like what we tried to do earlier on. So the power of this thing is, for example, if we wanted to go to search by surah and verse number, so I clicked on that one there and I said, and the way you got to enter it is, if I'm looking at surah 2.177, so it's surah 2 verse 177, and I click on the search button at the bottom, it brings up, and on the top it says show selected, right? And I've set up mine to show Muhammad Asad, Yusuf Ali, and Abdul Halim. Those seem to be ones that really give me value. And for example, if you look at Yusuf Ali, we read it earlier, it's not righteousness that you turn your faces towards east or west. If you look at Muhammad Asad, true piety does not consist in turning your faces towards east or west, and it goes on. And Abdul Halim, goodness does not consist in turning. So you'll find that the translations by and large are very, very similar. So there's not, but if you're looking for a specific verse, then that's a very handy way of finding a verse. And then we can move on to Arabic and English searches, which is probably the greatest power of this application. And we will look for, if I'm looking for an English search, so maybe like I wanted to search the last time, what do you guys want to search for? Heaven. Let's do heaven, right? Heaven. What are the verses about heaven in the Quran? So I type in heaven and I click on search, and it brings 244 selected verses. You'll see some of them have heavens mentioned twice. And if I click on show selected, it brings the Arabic with the three translations I've required for each one. But if I didn't want to bring up the three translations, I just wanted one. If I go to the top right-hand corner, it says settings, and then I choose general settings, and it's asking me select translations to view. So let's say I only want to see Abdul Halim, for example. So I untick the others, and you'll see it's got Mohsin Khan, Shakir, Ali Unal. I think Riyad had mentioned Ali Unal. Aisha Bewley is quite neat as well. Mahmoud Khali. So a variety of different translations. So if I click on that, I'm done. And then if I go back to my show selected, you'll see it now only brings up that translation I wanted, and a very handy way of searching, right? The only limitation of the English search on this one here is that it doesn't do a Boolean search, so you need to know the exact word or phrase. But you'll notice like heaven or heavens will still come out as well, right? Then what's also useful is that you can do an Arabic search. So if I click on Arabic, I tick the Arabic box there, and when I tap my finger onto enter word to search, it brings up an Arabic search box for me. So out of interest, and I know Riyad gave the example of Daraba yesterday, I'm going to search the word Daraba, right? So Dod, where's Ra? Ra is on this side here, and Ba. So Daraba was to strike, but also the verse about when you're having marital discord, the verse comes up as well. So let's see what verses come up with the word Daraba. So I've typed in Daraba, I click on search, and it has 54 occurrences for the word Daraba. So if I choose to show selected, so what's interesting is Inna Allah la yastahyi an yadriba mathalam ma ba'udatan. We actually did this, I think, a few nights ago. So Allah says Allah does not shy away from drawing comparisons. So in this example here, Abdul Halim translates Daraba as to draw comparisons, right? If you look at the next verse, وَإِذَا تَسْقَى مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ فَقُلْ نَضْرِبْ بِعَصَاكَ الْحَجَرَ. Remember when Musa prayed for water for his people, and we said to him, strike the rock, daraba the rock. So basically this one is a literal hitting of the rock. In the previous one it was a comparison, right? Let's look at Surah 2 verse 73, فَقُلْ نَضْرِبُوهُ بِبَعْدِهَا, and we said strike the body with a part of the cow. So you find that all the different types of occurrences If you look at this one, it's quite interesting. Surah 2, verse 273. Give to those needy who are wholly occupied in Allah's way and cannot travel in the land for trade. The unknowing might think them to be rich because of their self-restraint, but you will recognize them by their characteristics of not begging persistently. Allah is aware of any good you give. So it says, احصروه في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون دربا في الأرض. So it says darban fil ard, and in this meaning it means travel in the land. All right. So it's a very, I mean, we're just looking at 3 verses out of the 54, and it's very clear that the word daraba has multiple different meanings in each context. One we've seen was to travel, daraba fil ard, to travel through the land. We've seen daraba as to strike the rock. Where was it? You heard it? Daraba, daraba soccer, your stick on the hajar, and then we've seen daraba as a mathalan, as a comparison. So a very powerful way of looking at Arabic searches as such. But the other feature of this application is, so if you click on any, if you hold your finger on any word. So for example, like I was interested in this word daraba. So if I hold my finger on daraba and I press it in, and you'll see a menu comes up. It says show in dictionary or search word. So let's first show in dictionary, right? So if I click on show in dictionary, it actually brings up the word daraba, and it gives you the different forms, and the basic meaning is he struck, smote, or hit him, or it. So that's the most primary meaning of daraba. And then it gives examples. Surah 4 verse 34, wadribuhunna. And then if you look further on, it gives an example, idrib biyasaq al-hajar, strike the sea with your rod. And that's examples we've seen. And then he says here, according to Raghib, it signifies the making of a thing to fall upon another thing or fall with violence. And you see all different varieties. And what's interesting, this entire dictionary explanation is actually derived out of something called Lane's lexicon. So a lot of it is derived from a very complex lexicon on Arabic. But daraba is quite a difficult one to actually go through. But very powerful and very handy to be able to have a dictionary. So if I want to look at, if I held my finger on the word kafaru in the middle of this verse, I press on kafaru, it brings up a dictionary, it says show in dictionary, and kafara, and then it gives me the infinitive nouns, etc. And the basic meaning is he veiled, covered a thing as to destroy it. And then it gives you some examples and gives you slightly different forms of the Arabic, right? So it generally followed with B in front. So yakfuru, kufranun. So all different verses. But you'll notice, for example, here it says this kufrun is the opposite of shukrun, gratitude or thankfulness as such. So very useful in that sense. And then, for example, we can do the same thing. So let's say I want to type a word. If I hold on the kafaru and I say, look, search for me this word kafaru. So I click on search word kafaru. It automatically puts it in for me. And I click search, and it brings up the verses where kafaru occurs. And I say show select, right? So very handy technology. And like I told you, you've got a power in your hand with all these applications. So the last thing I actually wanted to show you is, for example, let's say this Surah Baqarah 2 verse 226. If I hold on this verse, I've already showed you the show in dictionary function. I've showed you the search word function. And then if I click on show tafsir of verse, you can see that if I click on that show tafsir of the verse, it loads up a few options for me. So it gives me the verse, Surah 2 verse 26 that we're looking at now. And then it gives me Abul Ala Mauduri's commentary on it. It gives me Maud Asad's commentary on this. and it gives me even Ibn Kathir's commentary on this verse. So the verse we were looking at was, let's look at Maud Asad's commentary on this. Behold, Allah does not disdain to propound a parable of a gnat or something even less than that. Now, so, and then his commentary is, it continues, now as for those who have attained to faith, they know that it is the truth from a sustainer, whereas those who are bent on denying the truth say, what could Allah mean by this parable? In this way, he causes many to go astray, just as he guides many one aright. None does he cause thereby to stray, save the iniquitous. And if you look at, he's got a note 18 there, so a gnat or mosquito or something even less than that. And then he's got a commentary number 18. Something above it is literally what it means, relating to the quality of smallness stressed here. And then he quotes Zamakhshari in his commentary. So that basically is the tools I really wanted to show you. Obviously, we're not going to go through a lot of the detail of all of this here, but it was really meant to show you the technology that's available on your hands. And we can now, just to make a check, haven't missed anything. Yeah, so I think we've covered the eQuran Lite on the iPhone. We've spoken about Al-Quran Tafsir app and the Quran Corpus. And I've showed you the Android application, the Hasanat application specifically. And the Quran Corpus is basically the same thing. You'll see on your note, but I won't go through it now. I actually enjoy going through the Quran's message website. It also provides very nice summary short notes as well. So let me just stop sharing here. Right, I see there's some comments as well. Perfect. So what we can go through now, what I'd like you to do just to experiment for the next 3-4 minutes, I'm going to give you a task to put into the chat box. So can you all just search for, I know there's 2 people that are having challenges with your applications, and I'll come to you now, but for the rest of you, if you can search for the word, let's think of, what word are you going to search for? We can search for the word patience, right? So you can search the word patience, and if you can populate in the chat message references for me quickly, right? And then the second task I'll give you will be an Arabic search, but for now, see if you can just do the search for patience, and then populate the chat box. And then let me get to my other. So you're not limited to what application you use. You can use whichever application you comfortable with, whether you're an iPhone or whatever it is. So just give it a shot and let me know if you're successful or not. Okay, I'm already seeing responses, which is great. So even if you want to search for another topic, like I mentioned, patience, but you can look for any other topic you're interested in. Just put 1 or 2 references for us to just make sure that you're comfortable. So I'm seeing quite a few people giving me some responses. So I just want to make sure that you're comfortable searching for things using your applications, right? Great. I see Zenith found quite a few. Someone with an iPad. Tasneem's got something. Tasmin's found something as well. Great. Kasim's found something. So excellent. So I think you guys are getting the hang of being able to do the English searches. The Arabic on the Hasanat is a bit easier for the other applications on iPhone. I'm not too familiar of how to get your Arabic to searches to work. But I don't know if there's anyone on the group that also has been doing Arabic searches, and you could maybe then share your screen and show others as well if you have an Apple platform. So maybe, yeah, I think we can maybe go for comments, questions, and round up. Riyad has got his hand up as well.
Perfect. Okay, so Jazakallah firstly for that presentation. Always nice to know, to see how the apps are growing over the years and becoming more popular on both Apple and Android. So and that Muslims are embracing technology for to approach the Quran is actually quite gratifying to see. Let's take any questions, comments. Anyone's would like to know anything with regard to the apps?
I think Riyad had his hand up, so maybe if you want to comment on this.
Riyad, any comments, questions? You had your hand up.
And then if anyone's having any challenges, they can just message me on the chat so I can try and help them out. I see Uncle Faisal having some challenges, but I'll just message him quickly.
Do they have your details?
Maybe I should.
You saying to just? No, it's fine. We can do it on here on the chat. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Are there any questions, comments? Here's one page. Okay, no, sorry, that's earlier. That's not app gave 91 results.
Okay, so I see a good comment here. So the comment states, the Hasanat app gave me 91 results using the index function, but I found less, 64 using the pure search function. Any comment on that? It's a very good comment on that. So, question, sorry. So if you look at when you're doing searches, so the word patience, what you find is that, like I showed you for daraba, it's not always translated the same. So if you look at the word sabr in the Quran, you might find that it's sometimes translated as constancy, sometimes as firmness. But if you in English, you only search for patience, you may not find all the verses related to sabr. So if you're looking at where the word patience is appropriately translated, then it might be that 64 occurrences. But if you're looking at the concept of sabr, which is a bit broader than just classical patience, then you would find a lot more, but you'll need to sort of dig a bit deeper in terms of how you do your search. See, there's a question about, is Hasanat available on iPhone? So the Hasanat's not available on iPhone. So unfortunately, I think with the iPhone platform, they're very restrictive of what applications they allow. So for that one there, you'd have, that's why I've given you two applications. So the Quran Lite is quite a useful English search. But if you want the tafsir, then you'll need to use that Al-Quran tafsir and by word to be able to get that aspect. Let's see if there's any other comments.
I don't see any other comments.
If you
So what would be a good approach also? I just, what I found helps as well is when I'm doing the search in English, I'll always double check it in Arabic as well. Because actually the word patience would be translated as endurance, as patience, as and two or three other translations appear as well. So you look at the Arabic, the triliteral root as you identified, sabr, and then you double check your results with that. Just to make sure that you before you form any opinions or restrict it only to those verses. So just a basic understanding of the Arabic will help as well. It's not a imperative, but I think it really enhances one's study of the Quran.
Yeah, and I think people should be comfortable. I mean, like from what I see, the responses, people seem to be able to do the basic searches now. And if you want to see what Allah has to say about oceans or seas in the Quran, you would search for those terms. But we'll do a more formal approach, taking a topic tomorrow night, inshallah.
Okay, then, if there's no other questions or comments, let me then close the session. Before I close the session, Nazir, is there anything on your side before I close tonight's session?
Yeah, Jazakallah. So, sorry I took quite long with it, but I thought it was more important just to prepare you for tomorrow night. So what we will do tomorrow night is that we will choose a specific topic. And what we're going to do then is collectively formulate a short note about a topic. And that'll require you being comfortable using the applications to search for verses. And then we will compile a summary document on the topic. So it'll basically require to do some English searches, Arabic searches. We look at some commentary, etc., and then try and build a sort of a straw man document on a topic, inshallah. So what I'd recommend is that whoever has been working on the apps this evening and are feeling comfortable, our topic actually will be sabr tomorrow night. And if you can, for the next, when we meet tomorrow night, try and do your own searches as well for the word patience, constancy. If you can get it right with the Arabic search for the word sabr, sword, ba, and ra. And then we will do the same exercise in the class, and then write a short note from putting the verses together to make a few key points about what the concept of sabr is from the Quran.
Okay, perfect. Jazakallah. Yeah. So we all know what to do for tomorrow night, inshallah. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 8 o'clock, inshallah. We'll send the Zoom invites as well again. So we look forward to seeing you then, inshallah. Jazakallah. I hope you enjoyed tonight's lesson. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.